Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. And the media keeps asking me, why did I come to Minneapolis? Now we know. My wife. My wife didn't make it on this trip, but two of my granddaughters came, and I want to introduce them, Laura and Valerie. Well, I tell you, this has to be about the most enthusiastic crowd. This is just great. It's very impressive. It proves that old adage that I have said many times, freedom is popular, but now we know freedom is popular in Minnesota. And we don't use that term casually because it means something very special. I mean, a lot of talk in Washington about freedom. And do you know that everybody in Washington, they take an oath to obey the Constitution? But they don't have the same understanding that many of us have. And they tend to think that it's something that is very flexible and that you don't have to adhere to. But the truth is what we have to do is realize exactly what it says and follow the rule of law. If we had done that all these years, we wouldn't be in the trouble that we have today. The trouble we have today didn't come overnight. It took quite a while. Many of us have complained about our current administration and the current Congress. But something happened a long time ago. Matter of fact, the insidious attack on liberty and the Constitution probably started early on. But it never got out of hand probably until this last 100 years. But in the last 100 years, we have had a serious erosion of our personal liberties. We have a serious attack on our whole system of privacy, our attack and our silliness that we got involved in with our foreign policy. But what happened 100 years ago was, during that time, for some reason, freedom got chopped up into pieces. There were some people who would defend a little bit of freedom over here. They would talk about personal liberty. Somebody else would talk about economic liberty. And then somebody else would talk about a different type of foreign policy. I think our job is put the puzzle back together. Put freedom together as one package. And freedom depends not on groups. Freedom brings us all together, not because we belong to a group, but because we're individual. Freedom belongs to the individual. In a free society, you don't have collective rights, you have individual rights. And these rights come to us in a natural or a God-given way because each and every one of us is very important. The magnificence of the freedom philosophy is it truly does bring people together, people who have different opinions. It shouldn't matter if you endorse the principles of freedom, what your religious beliefs aren't that important to your neighbor. I mean, you might want to persuade your neighbor, you might want to talk to him, but you shouldn't be offended by what somebody else believes. So whether it's personal lifestyle, whether it's religious beliefs or your social status, it should be irrelevant. What is important that each and every one of us has the opportunity to make the decisions for our life and to spend our money the way we want. Today, we have lost that opportunity, and that's why I think the country is very unhappy and disgruntled. Because under conditions like this, actually the wealth of the nation goes down. The country is getting poorer. And yet on the surface it looks like we're very wealthy, but our wealth is dependent on borrowed money. Each and every one of us could be very rich. If the banker would loan us $1 million every month, we could have a very lavish lifestyle. But eventually the banker says no more money and you have to start paying back. That is what's happening to our country today. We've had a lavish lifestyle, and now the markets are demanding that we pay it back, but a country has to pay it back somewhat differently. What happens is the currency is attacked when the country spends too much, and that is what's happening to us today. Our dollar is under attack. Today, we have the Canadian dollar is stronger than the American dollars. That should wake us up, you know. But how we get to that is the fact that we've had a perception and we've had some benefits because we've been able to live beyond our means, because our dollar used to be good as gold and it was as sound as a dollar, and you know, it was worth something, and that allowed, and the world, you know, looked at the dollar and took our dollars. Up until now, they're taking them less readily. And that is why the dollar's going down, interest rates will go up, and the prices are going to go up, and we'll have to face up to this crisis. Well, how did we get into this mess? Well, you know, in many ways, freedom is something you have to be very cautious with, because if you truly have freedom, you have great prosperity, and we have had great prosperity. But the irony of it all is our country concentrated on the prosperity and the materialism that it produced, and we forgot about where the prosperity came from. But now our country is getting poorer. Our currency is under attack. Our good jobs have gone overseas. We have an empire we can't afford, and we have to do something about it. And that means that we have to change our ways. We have to change our ways. And fortunately for us, we have a very good guide. We have a guideline, and that is what we need to do is follow the Constitution.